I first became aware of Rosario Vampire when I bought this copy of Shonen Jump in 2008. This issue included a sneak preview of this manga I had never heard of before. So I opened the book to this page and holy shit! What the fuck is this? This is fucking beautiful! Oh, what the? This looks amazing! So the full colored panels are limited to these few pages of the sneak preview, but after I saw them, I was instantly hooked. I needed to read the entire series. So to reiterate, my first impression of Rosario Vampire was that it looks cool, it looks beautiful, and it must be something special. Because of that, I read the entire series and I loved it, and now I want to relate to others the love that I have for this manga. So now that I finished talking about what got me hooked on the series, it would probably be a good idea if I moved on to something else relating to its contents. So I'm going to first talking about the characters. In my opinion, it's the characters that makes this series so great. That's why I'm going to talk about the characters first, plus it makes it easier to relate the different stories and plot points if you already have an idea about who the characters are. Now, if you were ever confused about who the main character of a story is, then you'll be glad to know that that doesn't happen here. The first text box of the whole series just spells it out for you. Now, when I was younger, I actually didn't pronounce the main character's name right. I used to say Tsukune and Tsukune. I think that's because I'm an English speaker, and my brain was like, it's gotta emphasize the T. But what's funny about this too is that I actually have seen the anime. I have watched all the episodes of Season 1 and Season 2, yet my brain never registered it. So who is Tsukune? Well, he's got no special skills, his grades aren't that good, and he's pretty much just an average guy. However, even though he is an average guy, he flunked out of all of the high school entrance exams, so his parents had to find him a school far out in the country. Everything looks scary to our main lead, and while he's walking, he gets run over by the cutest girl he's ever seen in his life. And it turns out that that cute girl he just met, well, she's a vampire. This vampire's name is Moka Akashiya, and she's going to be the main love interest of Tsukune. After that, Tsukune walks to his new school, and guess what? It turns out that the new school he got accepted to is a school for monsters. Ain't that wacky? Alright, so I don't want to go bullet point by bullet point for everything in the first chapter, or for any chapter really, because it's mainly unnecessary. But there is a lot of things in the first chapter that is set up for the entire series. For example, the fact that Tsukune is human. Humans are strictly forbidden at Yukai Academy. If it is found out that Tsukune is human, he could be killed, and he probably would be killed, if not by the school faculty, but by his fellow students who think that eating humans is A-okay. Another obvious setup here is Moka's Rosario, or just Rosary for us English speakers. Moka's Rosary locks up her vampiric powers, but once taken off, she is no longer that cute girl she was once before. She is now a badass with an entirely different personality. This other personality isn't like a heightened Moka because of her vampire powers, by the way. It's actually like a different person. So despite Moka being a vampire and Tsukune being a human, they get over those differences very quickly in the first chapter, and they actually become friends, which is, fucking awesome. But this is also bad because it leads to others getting jealous. And I'm not just talking about the multitudes of guys who want to kill Tsukune because Moka gravitates to him and not them. I'm also talking about other characters, such as one particular one introduced in the second chapter. This girl's name is Corrine Moon, and if you thought that she's going to be just another love interest for Tsukune and have no personality, you are mistaken. Corrine Moon is a succubus, and her entire life she's been able to manipulate men into doing whatever she wants. Now because of that, she continues to do this, but when guys start paying attention to Moka and not her, she gets angry. She manipulates the guy that Moka seems to have affections for, Tsukune, in a way to get revenge on Moka. The only problem is that her power doesn't seem to work as effectively on Tsukune as on others. Moka and Corrine Moon then fight, and this then leads to Corrine Moon giving away another layer to her actions. So at first, Corrine Moon wants to make every guy in her school her love slave, but when Tsukune is able to resist her powers, she changes, and now she only wants to pursue him. Now is this because Tsukune is the main character? No, there actually is a reason why she wants to be with him. As a succubus, Corrine Moon is able to manipulate men to do whatever she wants, but that manipulation also acts as a weeding out tool for natural selection. It helps her pick from men who are weak-willed and easy manipulated, and men who aren't, such as Tsukune, and this is something great to have, especially when Kurumu's species is dying out. Finding this destined one, or simply the one of her life, is pretty much all that Kurumu really wants. Kurumu isn't evil, she just wants something reasonable. She's just going about it all wrong. Tsukune, despite being average, he recognizes this, and he decides to stop the inner Moka from completely breaking Kurumu. So everything ends up okay, and now Kurumu wants Tsukune to marry her. Ain't that wacky? Now, I didn't see Kurumu in this light when I was first reading the series years ago. I actually used to think that Kurumu was just an annoying and bland character that was meant just to be a rival to Moka for Tsukune's affections. But after reading the series again, I realized that I was mistaken on this. Kurumu is actually a strong and well thought out character, and she's actually one of my favorites now. The next character that we're going to look at is Jin. Jin is a second-year student and the president of the newspaper club, and Kurumu, Tsukune, and Moka join that club. Jin's introduction to the series is him coming to his own club fashionably late while holding roses. Now, he seems like a nice guy, and Moka thinks that too, but he starts out as a pervert that wants to be with Moka. He looks up girls' skirts and he manipulates the situation to make Tsukune appear to be a pervert, and he nearly gets away with it. Unfortunately, Moka decides to do the just thing and wait to hear from Tsukune's side. So, Jin turns to a werewolf, he and Moka fight, and Tsukune gets awarded his innocence. Despite being a pervert, Jin actually has some redeemable qualities. In the 6th chapter, for example, girls are increasingly becoming missing, and Jin decides that he wants to investigate it. Now, his intention is to truly clean up his appearance after the pervert manipulation scandal, but, despite that, he is trying to do something good. And when it comes to his work on the school newspaper, he takes it seriously. He's not the president of the newspaper club just because. He actually wants to do a good job. However, if doing a good job means someone else does it while he oversees it and drinks coffee, well, he's fine with that too. So to summarize, Jin is an interesting character. He's got some serious flaws, namely being a pervert and being, selfish, but he's also really dedicated to his work. And sometimes his selfishness and his dedication to his work intersect, and this can be very funny. So he ends up doing good things, but for his own selfish reasons. He's kind of like Han Solo in this, and actually just like Han Solo, Jin starts doing good things like protecting his friends, because they are good things to do, not just for his own self-interest. The next character I'm going to talk about is Yukari. Yukari is an 11-year-old witch who is super smart. In fact, she's rated number 1 in test scores in the school. When we're introduced to her, she's getting picked on, and Moka steps in to save her. Yukari reveals that she actually has a crush on Moka, and that after she was saved by her, she got the courage to ask her out. This then leads to Yukari seeing Tsukune as a rival. Thus, she manipulates him using a doll to make him look bad in Moka's eyes. When Yukari gets in trouble again though, Tsukune doesn't want to help her, for obvious reasons, but then it is revealed why Yukari is being so mischievous. We already know that many monsters do not like humans and look down upon them, and it turns out that Yukari, despite having magical powers, is bunched in with them. Kurumu reveals that it's not entirely clear whether witches are humans or not, and because of that, they are considered half-breeds and are heavily discriminated against by both monsters and humans. She may have grown up so far without any friends, and yeah, she was being mean to Tsukune, but it was because she was lonely. So, Moka and Tsukune come to help her, and they are all good buds now. And it is because of Yukari that we are now introduced to the next character of the main cast, and she happens to be a witch as well. So this character's name is Rudy. We encounter her in the human world when Tsukune and his pals go on a trip to these sunflower fields. So Yukari saves this girl from these plants that are trying to eat her, and these other witches, one of them being Ruby, notices this. Ruby hates humans and wants to get revenge after her sunflower field is damaged. So Ruby attacks the group, but she fails and is then nursed back to health. Ruby reveals that her hatred for humans stems from the fact that her parents were killed by humans when she was a child. Tsukune in the group is able to convince her that not all humans are bad, but Ruby's master still can't accept that. So everyone fights, Ruby and her master talk it out, and then that conflict ends. Ruby survives the fight, but her master has not. After everything is said and done, the last panel shows a sunflower, a reminder of Ruby's home and the love that she was given by her adopted mother. Ruby's master may be gone, but in some way, she's still here for the child that she raised as her daughter. Alright, so I'm going to talk about one more character in depth, and this character's name is Mizori. Mizori shows up during the second semester of the school year, and she confronts Tsukune. She tells him that she didn't go to school during the first semester because she couldn't get along with people, but she did read a lot of the school newspaper. She became a fan of Tsukune's sections in the paper, and then she became so madly in love with him that she became possessive. So she tries to kill Moka, everyone fights, and Mizori then isolates herself to cry. It is then revealed that Mizori fell in love with her teacher, but he was being too pushy and harassing her, so she froze him. He nearly froze to death, and since that incident, he's been trying to get her expelled because of revenge, and also because he doesn't want any rumors of the indecent relationship getting out. So everyone fights, the teacher is then hospitalized, and now Mizori becomes friends with everyone. However, she's still pretty stalkerish and in love with Tsukune. Alright, so now that I finished talking about these characters, I can finally start talking about the story. So I'll begin with the first series, or just simply Season 1. So from what I've already talked about these characters so far, much of the beginning of the story is actually already covered. So I'm just going to build on from that. So what is this story all about? Well, in my opinion, this story is actually about its central theme, but I'm not going to talk about it just yet, because I don't want to spoil it. So I'll start talking about something else first, and that is the fact that Tsukune is human, and Moka is a vampire. A lot of the conflict that happens in the story is because our main character is a human, and his main love interest is a vampire. This goes all the way back to the first chapter, where Tsukune doesn't want to be around monsters who might try to eat him or kill him, and Moka hates humans because when she went to a human school, she felt isolated and weird around them. Over the first few chapters, the group of friends grows, and then our first major conflict of the story arises. So our friends in the newspaper club start distributing newspapers at the front entrance of the school, and the Yukari Academy guardians of the Public Safety Commission, they don't like it. The reason is that they see themselves as the protectors of the academy, the student police if you will, and they want to stomp out evil and maintain peace within the school. Now their purpose actually makes a lot of sense. Lots of bad things happen at this school. In the first chapter, we have a monster that's transformed and was being too pushy and even rapey towards Moka. In the third chapter, some mermaids attack the men in the pool in order to steal some of their life energy. In the fourth chapter, Jim frames Tsukune into looking like a peeping Tom. In the fifth chapter, some bullies try to eat Yukari. In the sixth chapter, the art teacher is turning students into statues. And in the seventh chapter, Kumiro gets blackmailed by a creepy stalker. There is definite need of a governing body that aims to protect the students at the school. The problem, of course, is that these guys aren't truly a just force in the school. They are a corrupt, authoritarian gang. So when Tsukune and his friends actually published that story of those disappearing students, they disrupted the peace at the school in the eyes of the student police, and this made them look bad. So they confront the newspaper club and they stomp out their display at the entrance. Jin decides to give up, and it actually turns out that the newspaper club and the student police, they've had an encounter in the past. The student police won that fight, and Jin lost. Jin tells everyone to just throw away all their newspapers, however Kumiro isn't willing to do so. This results in a fight with one of the members of the student police. Our friends win, but this isn't the end of this conflict. The art teacher that was defeated previously confronts the student police, and that person tells them that Tsukune might be a human. If Tsukune is human, the student police can kill him and his friends for abetting him. They decide that this is an interest worth pursuing. So this leads to all of Tsukune's friends in the newspaper club learning that he is human, and everyone fights. Tsukune gets badly injured in the fight, so Moka infuses some of her blood to revive him. And when Tsukune is revived, he now can momentarily use some badass vampire powers. Now it needs to be noted that Tsukune is not turned into a vampire when Moka infused her blood. He's merely just able to use the power from the vampire blood that Moka gave him temporarily. A few more situations arise like this where Moka has to give Tsukune vampire blood to save the day, and everything seems okay after this happens, but that is not so. On one occasion, some of the blood that Tsukune got from Moka remains in his system. This then starts making him pant and losing consciousness. The rapey guy from the first chapter returns though, and by using the blood within him, Tsukune is able to save the day. The problem that manifests with this though, is that Tsukune then gains the attention of the outcast monsters, the guys called the mixed breeds. The mixed breeds have a lot of resentment towards the purebred monsters, including the vampires. They are looked down by many of the purebred monsters as they are seen as less than. Because the mixed breeds are discriminated against, many of them have joined together and formed a gang. The gang hates purebred monsters, and they actively want to kill them. That is one reason why none of the monsters at the school may not be allowed to say what type of monster they are. It may be because the school wants to reduce racial tensions. So the mixed breeds attack Tsukune and the gang, and Tsukune saves the day by using more vampire power, but as I said before, everything is not a-okay with Tsukune using this power. Using this power breaks Tsukune's body apart, and because of this, Inner Moka tells him that he should leave forever in order to recuperate. Tsukune doesn't want to do this, of course, because, you know, he's in love with Moka. After this, Tsukune and the gang then fight the mixed breeds again, but this time the bad guys actually get the upper hand. They use a water attack that paralyzes Moka, and this then results in Tsukune jumping in to protect her. Moka then gives Tsukune some more of her blood, and now we are introduced to Ghoul Tsukune. So Ghoul Tsukune is able to stop the bad guys, but in his present state, he only wants to fight and kill. Both Inner Moka and Outer Moka, you know, they love Tsukune, you know, they adore him. But in his present state, Tsukune is only going to hurt other people. So despite her love, Inner Moka decides that she needs to put him down. Moka further beats up Tsukune, fully committed to killing him, and without outside intervention, this would have been the last day of Tsukune's life. Thankfully, Ruby has returned to the kindness that she received before, appears alongside with an exorcist to stop Tsukune, and this then results, ultimately, in saving his life. So our main guy is then given a holy lock, and this is an item much like the rosary that Moka has. He is told that the lock will seal the vampiric powers within his veins, and this will keep him human. However, the exorcist warns him that if he takes the lock off, then he will surely die. Also, this exorcist guy, he's not some random smuck, he's actually the headmaster of the school. So I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute, why does the headmaster do this? Why wouldn't the headmaster just kill Tsukune on sight, like what the rules say to do? Well, the reason is, he wants to use him. In one chapter actually, he used another person to test Tsukune to measure his strength, and in another chapter, the headmaster expels Tsukune so that way he will feel compelled to stop this guy that the headmaster says is the reason for his expulsion. And guess what? Tsukune stops the guy, and then the headmaster unexpels him. At this point, our main guy is then tasked with supporting the school in whatever way the headmaster wants. Or, of course, face expulsion. So Tsukune is forced to join the school festival committee, and he thinks it's scary. However, he does befriend the president of the committee, a guy called Hokuto. So Hokuto becomes more than Tsukune's friend. He becomes his idol. So Hokuto tells him like he wants to bring peace to Yukari Academy, and he wants to stop this organization called Antithesis that wants to destroy the school. The only problem with this though is that the leader of Antithesis is actually Hokuto, and he doesn't want to protect the school, he wants to destroy it. Now what is the goal of Antithesis? The goal of Antithesis is to unseparate monsters and humans and return the world back to what it was before. And guess what? Hokuto would have nearly gotten away with it too, if it wasn't for those pesky kids. Oh wait a minute, getting captured was actually part of his plan all along. He just wanted to get closer to the headmaster, who's one of the three Dark Lords who created the barrier around the school by the way, in order to get the rosary around his neck that keeps up the barrier around the school. At this point, Tsukune becomes fully committed to beating up his former idol. Fighting ensues, but Hokuto is too smart for the bunch, and he manages to put the rosary into its slot. So it is then revealed that Hokuto and Tsukune actually have something alike. And it's actually pretty funny actually, because usually the villain wants to be like, you know, we're not so different, you and I. But in this case, Hokuto says that they are nothing alike when they clearly are alike. It turns out that Hokuto has a holy lock like Tsukune's, meaning that he was once a human that wound up to a school of monsters just like Tsukune. Now, Hokuto hates what he has become in order to survive at the school, and therefore, he wants the school destroyed. In order to win when he's put into a corner, he releases his lock and forever forgoes his humanity. Hokuto ultimately loses against Moka and Tsukune, but more was lost on this day. Hokuto lost his humanity, and Tsukune lost his idol. Despite winning the fight, it appears that Hokuto still won the war. As our heroes try to run up the barrier, he then reflects on his past. Unlike Tsukune, who grew up with loving parents and who made friends at Yukari Academy, Hokuto grew up in a wealthy household where he was abused. When given the chance to escape, fate presented a flyer to Yukari Academy, which he accepted. Leaving in Yukari Academy frightened Hokuto and made him go on a path of wanting to reshape the world. When Hokuto returns from his reflection, he sees that Tsukune is willing to give up his life to save the Academy and his friends. And in a moment of redemption, he decides to use his powers to undo his own plan. After recovering, Hokuto leaves the Academy forever, and the festival goes on as planned, well, for a while. Both Mazori's and Kumaru's moms show up, and this guy tries to take advantage of Moka, and there's also Tsukune's cousin, she shows up too, and it's all just a big romp. The big takeaway from all this event is that shit goes down, and the school is then closed down. So more stuff goes down after this, but this is pretty much where season 1 of the manga ends. So to summarize, Tsukune Aono is no longer the weak guy that would flee all the time. He's no longer that guy who would rely on the sole help of Moka or his friends. He's now gotten a lot stronger, and he can now help out his friends in their problems. However, this comes at a cost, of course, to part of his humanity. Both the inner and the outer Moka, also, they've come to terms that they actually like Tsukune. And if what the outer Moka is speaking is true, she's actually willing to be with him in the human world if he decides to remain in there. Kurumaru is still suffering from her unrequited love, which is sad, but besides that, everybody else's friendship appears to be growing and getting stronger. And lastly, it is becoming clear that Tsukune is going to have to make some important decisions someday. When his time at Yokai Academy is complete, is he going to remain in the human world, or is he going to move to the monster world? Is he going to be committed to Moka, or is he just going to shrug his shoulders and continue this weird relationship that he has with everybody? So, with that premonition, season 1 of the manga ends, and now season 2, it begins.